The second thing that I have learned, teachers make a difference. Now, they can have a negative impact. For example, my first day of kindergarten was Sister Rosanna. You need to know something about the person speaking to you today. I began my education on the very first day of school. I was suspended from school. I have to give you background on this one. So, my grandfather, good old Irish cop from upstate New York, ever since I was 3 years old, he'd sit me on his lap, we'd share a Miller Lite together, and he taught me this song that goes, I like beer, it makes me a jolly good fellow, it helps me unwind, and sometimes it makes me feel mellow. Whiskey's too rough, champagne costs too much, and vodka puts my mouth in gear. So let me explain, it's my little refrain, as a matter of fact, I like beer. First day of kindergarten, Sister Rosanna asked us, does anybody know a song? It all went downhill from there. Mrs. Almond was my third grade teacher, and Mrs. Almond hated my guts because I used to sing a song in her class that went, Almond Joy got nuts. She hated me. Now, I was the best artist in our classroom, and one day Mrs. Almond, she asked us all to draw a picture of a clown. I don't remember exactly what my clown picture looked like. I think it was something like this. It was pretty awesome. And it was Mrs. Almond that looked over my shoulder and said, that's not very good now, is it, Danny? And that was the last day I drew a picture. Don't worry, I've taken care of the woman since then. That one negative comment got me to quit my passion for drawing. Mrs. Newman was the woman to successfully get me to hate science. She was my 9th grade science teacher, and the woman never changed the tone of her voice. Hello, class, and welcome to the exciting world of life science. The school is burning down as I speak. I have a large laceration above my left eyebrow. I'm slowly bleeding to death. I was asleep within 3 minutes every single day in her class. But it can work the other way as well. I was always blessed with great English teachers. Mrs. Witt was my 8th grade English teacher. Mrs. Witt was 183 years old. She was 4 feet tall. Her teeth reminded you of summer. Summer here, summer there. She was old school. She believed the English language was to be memorized and diagrammed mathematically. She used to waddle around the room with a stopwatch and go, Brassell, 6 tenths is the verb to be. Go! Present tense, I am, you are, he, she is, we are, you are, they are. She'd be like, not good. I learned how to yawn without opening my mouth in her classroom because she carried a meter stick, and if she caught you yawning, she'd smack you across the face. And if you said you were going to tell anybody, she's like, who's going to believe you? I'm a sweet little old lady. She freaked us out. Her grading policy on every single paper, 1 spelling mistake, automatic C. 2 spelling mistakes, automatic F. 1 grammatical mistake, automatic C. 2 grammatical mistakes, automatic F. This is before she grades the paper, folks. And failure was not an option with her. She'd keep you in detention until midnight until you got it right. The football coach was horrified by this woman. Every single year she gave her top student her coveted penny. It was a penny, man. And we all wanted it. Out of 325 8th graders, I took second. I had a 98.7%. Sarah Davidson had a 99.2%. She was a nerd. And Mrs. Witt comes out to me, she said, never settle for second best, Brassell. Dang, that woman was tough. But thank goodness I had Mrs. Witt. I could have never passed Miss McLean's class had I not had Mrs. Witt. Miss McLean was my 11th grade English teacher, and in her 25 years of teaching, she had never had a student score higher than a 95% on her final exam. Now, I had a solid B in her classroom, and one day my buddy and I were calculating our grades, and I determined in order to move from a B to an A, I was going to have to score a 97% on her final exam. I also calculated that I could get a 0 and maintain my B. And being the student that I always liked to challenge himself, I turned to my buddy and said, well, I guess I got a B. She overheard that. She leans in, she's like, this is the moment, Daniel. This is the moment that's going to determine the course of your entire future. She guilted me into studying for this final exam for the next 3 weeks, and I scored a 96%, the highest grade ever in her class. And she gave me the B. The woman never let me get away with anything. I would do a paper, quickly turn it in. She wouldn't even look at it. She'd say, "How dare you, Daniel? How dare you put your name on this?" She was a huge New York Yankees fan, and she liked to remind me in his final season as a Yankee, Joe DiMaggio was playing in a meaningless game. The Yankees had already clinched the pennant. They were up a run. DiMaggio hits a single, tries to stretch it into a double, slides headfirst into second base, almost kills himself. A rookie at the end of the inning is like, "Joe, what were you thinking?" And DiMaggio looked at the rookie and said, "I was thinking that some kid, this might be his first time at Yankee Stadium. I want him to know what kind of player I am." Miss McLean looked at me and she said, "Daniel, someday you're going to meet your maker, and it ain't going to be a very good day. So you need to make your worst day your best day by never, ever giving anything less than your best." It's actually one of the best lessons anybody's ever taught me. Now, I did my undergraduate degree at American University in Washington, D.C. I was a political science major, but I took Steve Taylor's journalism class because the basketball team took that class, so I knew it was an easy A. And Steve kept me after class one day, and he's like, "You know, Danny, I really wish you'd switch majors. You're the best writer I've ever read." Well, that comment got me to switch majors, and Steve was the person to get me my first job as a journalist, so it can work the other way as well.